Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. Has it been 100 days already since Baldur's Gate came out back in June? So let's take a look at set box sales off of TCG Player. What's really interesting about this is that even despite all the negativity, which was really well deserved, I'm not going to argue that, but despite all the negativity and despite Double Masters 2022 coming out a couple weeks after this, and then now Dominaria United coming out, the sales of this has been very, very steady. The sales of these set boxes from Baldur's Gate, very steady over this period. In fact, this was probably a bonus buck sale right there. But if you take from right here all the way out to the 100-day mark, you get an average of 20 to 21 boxes a day over that whole period. Very, very consistent. Now, what did it take? It took the price melting down and melting down and melting down. And so the kind of tragic part about this is if you look at these final 30 days here where it's dipped under $80 and even before that for this comparison I'm about to make, but this final 30 days is especially dramatic. If you're a card store and you're selling this for $80, then after you pay the market fees and you pay to ship it, you're going to be losing about $22 off of the approximately $87 wholesale price that these boxes cost. And remember, this was what I call a half premium product. Now, it was only $87 for a set box, but that's because they only put 18 packs into a set box instead of the normal 30, and then they messed around with the size of the packs and everything else. But just keep in mind, these were $87 boxes, and even today, card stores are selling them below $80, and that's before they pay fees and shipping. So what could we compare this to? Of course, I think the two best candidates are probably Kamigawa Neon Dynasty and Streets of New Capenna. Even though they are standard sets, they came out around the same time. And what's really fascinating about this is the red line for Kamigawa here on box sales. Of course, this shows that Kamigawa truly had a lack of boxes. For one reason or another, WotC had some kind of problem getting the boxes out into the market. Maybe they underestimated what they should have printed. Maybe they held them back longer than they should have. Who knows what the real reason was. But there certainly was a lack of boxes out there because you see how many fewer it sold than Baldur's Gate at the same relative point in their life cycles, and what it did to the price of Kamigawa. Remember, that got all the way up to the 140s before the either reprint or release wave came out. And it just goes to further reinforce the unpopularity of Streets of New Capenna. And keep in mind that these set box prices for Streets here at $100 and Baldur's Gate here at $80, those are a lot more equivalent than you think because, again, Baldur's Gate was the half premium pricing and smaller boxes. So it makes up some of that gap in between there. And even then, value-wise, you could not induce more sales in Streets of New Capenna. Now, something that might be interesting, let's take this out to 150 days. Yeah, so look, Baldur's Gate has already outsold what Kamigawa Neon Dynasty sold out to its 150-day mark, and that's even after this reprint wave hit and knocked the price all the way back down to really where it should be, about the 115 range. That's pretty reasonable for a set box nowadays. So I think that all of the original prognostications that Baldur's Gate would be one and done, there would be no reprint, and that would support box price well into the future, I would not bet on that anymore. At the time, I think that was a reasonable assessment to make, but I think in light of the data that we see now, we probably have to change our opinion on that. I think Baldur's Gate is pretty likely to get a reprint if it hasn't gotten one already. Now, maybe it has, I don't know. Also, I'd be interested to know, if you're a card store, how much of this do you still have left? Do you still have a bunch on the shelf? I mean, the price has had to go way down to induce people to buy it, but people are consuming it. I mean, it's not so hated that people will not part with $80 in order to get it into their hands. So, I definitely think 6 months from now, maybe if the wider economy firms up a bit, if the TCG market starts to firm up a little bit and prices start to rise a bit, especially as the supply of these boxes starts to dry up, I think the price will catch some support on this, and we could very likely at that point see a second print run of this. So let me know what you think about that. I'm really enjoying having these data, and I'm the kind of insights that you can glean from it. It's really interesting. It's much more interesting than I expected it to be. And I've had some other ideas for cool stuff that I can talk about and pull out of these data. I need to do a little more programming here in MATLAB to actually calculate the things I want to calculate. But soon I've got some ideas for some other neat things I'm going to add to these kind of analysis. So let me know what you think. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if this work is valuable to you, consider joining me on Patreon. Thanks a lot.